Yeah. And then based off of that, then they started playing into this parody of, oh, this monoculture, like this founder that looks exactly the same is creating this stupid app and is getting funded beyond belief. And it's like, look at this joke. What is this and what's happening? And I think that kind of leads itself to this contentious relationship between startups, VCs, actual founders, and tech journalists. And a lot of times they're journalists who are covering startups and technology, but they don't have a STEM background.
Yeah.
They've never worked at startups and they don't have an insider perspective. And I'm not trying to discount their take on things, but there's so many times there's such bad reporting.
Yeah.
And they're looking for a narrative. They're looking for a way to get a click on a article, right? The mechanisms behind their intention is very different than someone who's very genuine with their startup.
Yeah.
Right. I think they've completely overlooked that there are a lot of people who work in tech who are very genuine with their intentions behind what they're doing, what they're building. But the media likes to paint this broad stroke of they're all just entitled assholes who are just undeserving of how much money they're getting. And, you know, just kind of like painting this really weird narrative.
It's like a very like one-dimensional take about Silicon Valley. And I definitely agree with you. I would also echo it's kind of like lazy journalism because they kind of all follow the same cycle of building up a tech company and then like tearing them down.
Yeah.
And we've seen it regardless of the founder's gender.
Yeah.
Like we've seen male founders get completely put on a pedestal for no reason other than the fact that they're portraying them to be godlike. And maybe a few years later, like immediately just like crash down.
Yeah, that cycle of building someone up and then tearing them down is something that media has done for so many decades. And it's like odd now to see it being done to like a lot of times like people you know or people you've worked with or someone who's usually always like a second degree connection. And so you have a little bit of a different insight into who that person is. And sometimes they do get it right. Like sometimes the person is like a major asshole.